Hey everyone, welcome to another video on Cool Random Builds. My name is Ian, and today I'm going to show you how you can make this Stormbreaker. Now, Stormbreaker was one of those projects that I've had in mind for a while already. Like, I've wanted to make Stormbreaker since it came out in Infinity War, but I always thought the design was a little bit too complicated to make. But hey, 4 years later, Thor: Love and Thunder comes out, and I finally decided to make Stormbreaker. Yeah, I'm really glad with how well it's turned out. Obviously, it's not 100% movie accurate, but I think I did get the sizing pretty accurate. Um, I will say that I did look online a little bit on how to make this. I saw a lot of different content creators, too many for me to remember, but the two I did watch the most, like the two videos I looked over and over again, were from Odin Makes and Propway. And I will say that for this base part right here of Stormbreaker, not like the whole axe, but just the base part, like the base of the head, I did have to use Propway's template because I couldn't make a perfect axe shape. But everything else I did pretty much on my own. Yeah, big thank you for him making templates, because I was stuck for a while just trying to make a perfect shape right there. But everything else, yeah, like I said, I did on my own. But anyway, enough talk. Let's get into how I actually made this. So this is actually the part where I had to use one of Propway's templates to get like the right base shape. Like how I said, it was a little bit too difficult for me. But right now I am using a Sharpie to trace out these shapes on some 6mm craft foam. I'm cutting out 3 because they will all be layered on top of each other, and will make a more thicker and stronger base. Alright, and here I'm starting to cut those out, and yeah, my camera fell. And it's all shaky here because, even though my knife is sharp, I've had this knife for over almost 2 years now, and I haven't got a new one. So I'd recommend using a sharper knife, because this really made my hand sore when I was done with the whole project. Then after I took it out of the foam, I had to make sure that the pieces were smooth on the edges, so I just got the knife and started cutting along the edge just to make it as smooth as possible. Then you should have 3 of these. Then I would glue those 3 pieces on top of each other using contact cement. If you don't know how to use contact cement, what you basically do is you brush contact cement on both sides that are going to be glued, wait like 5 minutes for it to become tacky, and then just stick the pieces together, and they'll pretty much just be cemented together. And then you should have a piece that looks something like this. I actually I had to modify mine because I made one of the pieces a little bit too short. I mean too small for the other pieces, so it looks kind of weird on the sides. So I had to add some extra pieces of foam to the sides to make it look more even. Okay, and then from here on, I actually started making these pieces myself. So these ones, what you do here, this is what's going to be this is what's going to be like the knife part of the axe. You got to cut these at a bit of an angle because we want it to look sharp. So I cut these pieces at an angle so you have like a little like wedge at the top of it. You'll see once it's cut out. And this is what the edges of that piece should look like. As you can see, they have like kind of like a slope. Okay, and then here you have to apply contact cement on the front side of the base, because we are going to attach, and oh yeah, you're also gonna have to put it to the knife pieces, because we are going to attach these to the base so it can have like an axe-like shape, which is why the pieces are curved a little bit so they can look more like rounded too. I tried pinching these pieces together, but that didn't end up working. Okay, so actually, instead of pinching them together, what I did was I cut out an extra, like, rectangle, but, like, I cut at an angle, so it almost looks like... It doesn't look super sharp, though. Like, I probably could have done a better job with it, but I don't know. I actually kind of like how it looks like that. So now it actually looks like an axe head. So... yeah, it's kind of messy right now. There's a lot of contact cement everywhere. But it'll all go away once I start painting it. So I'm gonna start working on the hammer side of it. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, that I actually, I thought that the sides looked kind of ugly, because, it's, I don't know, I thought they looked kind of ugly, so, I put some slightly thinner foam on the side using contact cement as well, and, I kind of cleaned it up. So, yeah, now I'm actually gonna start working on the hammer side of the axe. Okay, so the area is kind of messy right now, but I just finished cutting out, these. I kind of free-handed them, but they're like octagon type of things. And I made one small one, and these will pretty much just be like a sandwich. Put them on top of each other, like this. Hold up, trying to. Okay, well, anyway, it'll look something like this. And this will go right here, and that is what will hold the axe head and the hammer head. So I'm gonna clean this area up really quick, and then I'm gonna start gluing these on. And then again, I started using contact cement to put these two pieces together. Now I kind of like flaps them in the air like that to like dry off the contact cement a lot faster. I thought, and it did work out. And then I got this sort of like octagon sandwich type of thing that will go in between the oh, my camera fell, in between the axe head and the axe side of the hammer and the hammer side of the hammer. Yeah. Now, what I'm realizing here is that this, at certain, well, not really at certain angles, but if you, like, pay really close attention, it's not, like, 100% perfect. It's more like, I'd say 80 to 90% perfect. But that is actually fine, because this part doesn't have to be fully, like, symmetrical, because when this goes on here, when we can put the PVC pipe in for the handle, we're gonna put some vines around it, which is Groot's hand, when he basically connected the two pieces of Stormbreaker, and those vines will pretty much cover up this whole piece right here. This is just to give it some extra detail, but yeah, like how I said, it doesn't really matter if it's like symmetrical. It'll be mostly covered by the vines. And I actually I ran out of contact cement, so I'm gonna be using hot glue from now on. Okay, so now I'm gonna work on the hammer side of Stormbreaker. So now what I did here is I measured out how big the back side of that like sandwich piece was, and pretty much just drew out these tall trapezoid pieces plus some small rectangles, which are gonna hold these pieces together. The rectangles that you see there, I later cut those at an angle, so they could form the hammer side of Stormbreaker. But these trapezoid type of pieces, those were cut normally. And these are those pieces cut out. As you can see, those rectangles have a wedge on them, so you gotta glue them to the side of trapezoid, and you do that to all of the sides, and then you have the hammer side, or at least the base part of the hammer side. And this is what that piece should look like after you glue all the pieces together. And then I basically just glued this to the axe side of Stormbreaker, and now we're pretty much almost done with the hammer slash axe head. It's now looking a lot more like Stormbreaker at this point. Okay, so it is actually the next day now because I was recording this late at night, but these smaller trapezoid pieces that I'm cutting out at an angle too, so they'll have like a wedge. This is what's gonna start forming like the tip of the or at least like the top part of the hammerhead side. And this is those pieces that were cut out. And yeah, I also freehanded these ones. And then you get like the wedge part of it, and then you glue them to the side of the hammerhead. And this is what it should start looking like once you have those trapezoid pieces glued to the side of the hammer side of Stormbreaker. So this actually happens very often. Every time I just measure out a piece, the piece is always a little bit too small. because these like trapezoid pieces were a little bit too small. So what I'm doing here, I'm just adding some little foam rectangles to make it all like the same size. I don't know why, it just happens every single time I measure something out. But it seems to be working fine, so now when I finish that, I'm going to start making these little like rectangles that will go right here. And this is those rectangles cut out. I also cut these with at an angle so they can have like a wedge. And this is what's gonna go in those corners. This is pretty much what's gonna hold the top part of it together. And now we just gotta pretty much just do the very top of the hammer. All right, so now it should start looking something like this. It looks kind of dirty right now. Um, I'm gonna start cleaning it up a little bit. Making it look more smooth. These are kind of off though. I mean, like not off, like not the right size, but like I don't know, like they look like you can see the creases here, and I don't really have a filler at the moment right now, but I think it'll look fine because we're gonna add some details later to this. I'm kind of using hot glue right there to like patch some holes. Hopefully that works. But yeah, now I'm just gonna work on this part. Alright, for the top part, I pretty much just put the hammer side down on a piece of 6mm craft foam, and I just traced it out. And this is pretty much what's gonna be the top that covers that hole at the top of the hammer side. Okay, and this is that top piece cut out. I'm doing the same thing I did at the beginning. I'm just cutting the sides of it just to make it more smooth and it can fit evenly on the top of the hammerhead side. So now what I'm doing here, I'm just measuring out, making sure it fits fine. I think I did end up cutting it a little bit smaller so it could fit. Okay, and then so here, this is where like that circle part that's at the top of like the hammerhead. I literally just got a roll of duct tape and just cut a circle out. And then what I did here is that circle that I cut out, I will glue it under that like square rectangle piece so it can be like indented into it, because on a lot of pictures it kind of looks like the top of Mjolnir, like that little like disc thingy. But no, it's actually indented because I relooked at like trailers, Stormbreaker. It is indented into to the hammerhead. So here, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna glue it right under that little circle. I mean on top of that circle. And then right after that, I cut out another smaller circle out of 6mm craft foam, and this is what's going to be that circle that's inside of the bigger circle. That's going to get glued in the very center of it, and and then also that inside that circle there are some like rune type of things. Um, which I didn't quite know what they said. I tried to look at a reference picture of what it was, so but I didn't quite know. So what I did is I pretty much just used my hot glue gun and just drew a bunch of like lines there, just a bunch of like squiggly lines there uh that are popped up because it's hot glue, so it kind of looks like runes on the back side of the hammerhead. I'm kind of just realizing now, but I'm sorry for the moments where the camera angle is really bad, like right now. But what I was doing here is I just was putting hot glue on the top of the hammerhead so I could glue that like square thing that I just made on top of it. So it would complete the hammerhead. But yeah, sorry for the bad camera angle. Alright, so now we got like the hammer slash axe head done. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add like the details to it, like engravings to it, and just small little details to it to like finish it off. But yeah, I'm gonna do that now. So I was using some reference images to do this, but I also cut out some 2mm craft foam. I cut out these shapes right here, which are those like design things that are on the front or on the face of the axe side. And I just began gluing those onto there with yeah, like how I said, with 2mm craft foam. Then, using a Sharpie, I drew some detail lines on here, and using a Sharpie and then an X-Acto knife. Oh yeah, bad angle again. Sorry, but using a Sharpie and an X-Acto knife, I drew out some details, and with the X-Acto knife, I scored those details so they can be like engravings, which will later be heated up so they can show up more. So after I drew all those details and scored them, I actually realized that I forgot one big part of detail is that on the back side of Stormbreaker it has like this weird like groove or like the, it's like a valley type of thing. Which what I did here is I cut out I literally just used a ruler for this. It was that groove like was the exact size of a ruler. But what I did is I cut out an angle, and then once I cut that like rectangle out, I took it out and I put it inside of on the inside part of the hammer side, so it could look more like a like a valley or like a little like thing under there. Like I don't know what it's called. Okay, so now it looks something like this. Yeah, it's kind of dirty right now, but I'm gonna try to clean it up a little bit. Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard, and then oh, I actually forgot that there's like a little spike that goes right here, so I'm gonna do that really quick. Okay, so now we gotta make those little like cuts that I made open up a little bit. Now, since I'm doing this on a budget and I don't actually have a heat gun, I'm gonna be using my hair dryer, which is the same technique I use for my Shang-Chi rings. I actually haven't. I just realized I don't have a video for that. I couldn't upload the video of that. But here's a picture of the Shang-Chi rings. I did the runes of them with a by opening them up with a hairdryer. So I'm gonna do that really quick. Okay, so I finished the heat gun thing. I mean hairdryer thing. I opened up the cuts. The one thing I did do, I don't think if you can see it on here, but Stormbreaker apparently has some runes on here. I didn't quite know what they said. I kind of kept looking around and I didn't know what they said. So what I did was I wrote in Asgardian text. I wrote Stormbreaker and I put some like like lines through it to make it look more like runes. And I did the same thing on this side. I wrote Stormbreaker. It can barely see it with lines going through it so it can look like runes. Oh yeah, this part right here, I'm actually probably gonna add a little bit more glue to it. Yeah, just to make it pop out more because it's only one layer of glue. That'll do. But anyway, so now what I'm gonna do is I am going to start putting the PVC pipe on it. Using this PVC pipe right here. Now, according to Google or whatever, Stormbreaker is around 51.57 inches. So, I'm gonna have to measure all this out, and I'm gonna cut this to match the length of Stormbreaker. And now here is me measuring the PVC pipe and marking down where I'm gonna cut it so it can match Stormbreaker's cannon height. And when cutting PVC pipes, make sure you wear the proper protection, and because there is a lot of dust that flies off the PVC pipe when cutting. So yeah, this is me cutting it with just a plastic like knife cut or whatever. And then here I just cut out like I'm here just cutting out a little like space right here the PVC pipe is gonna go, and I just glued it using hot glue like always. Okay, so I just realized that I forgot to record this part, but what I did is I added a strip of foam that goes around the 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 hammerhead side. I also put these like this trapezoid thingy and right here as well for extra detail. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean it all up, stick it onto the PVC pipe, and I'm gonna start painting. Then after attaching the PVC pipe, I started painting this silver. I thought it'd be a good idea to spray paint it black first so it can work like a primer thing, but I didn't do that just because the foam was already black. So yeah, I just spray painted the whole thing silver. Okay, now for like the group vines, what I did is I just got some like supermarket bags and then just like pretty much just like rolled them up like this into like a strip or something, and then I got some masking tape and pretty much just wrapped it around the entire thing, and I made like 5 of these. And then I painted, well, spray painted those bags brown to look like branches. They look kind of weird on camera here, but I think they actually look pretty good. Now I just gotta wait for them to dry. Um, these, I think they really do look like branches, so I'm just gonna put these next to a fan and hope that they dry quick enough. So I'll be right back with that. And while those vines were drying, I pretty much just wrapped some 2mm craft foam across, around the entire PVC pipe, because we are going to add some engravings to this to make it look more like a, like a tree branch, because it's Groot's arm. Now, if you look at the bottom of Stormbreaker, it has like a bell bottom or whatever. Like it's bigger than the actual handle. So what I did here, I just pretty much wrapped some 2mm craft foam twice, and then put more around that to make it look more like a bell bottom or something. So now it actually looks like an actual like tree branch that got chopped off. And now I pretty much just scored a bunch of lines to make it look more like a tree branch, which I will later heat up again with the hair dryer so they can open up more, look more like like a tree branch. Okay, so I've added all the detail lines that I need, and up here too. So now I'm just gonna go heat those up with the to open those cuts up, and we're gonna start painting after that. I actually later on realized that these runes I made right here were not accurate. I mean that this part was missing too. So, and then it's not focusing. Then I actually saw some reference images of what the runes said, and now I actually wrote what the runes said. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the heat gun on this. I mean the hair dryer on this, and then paint these white and just paint these extra things that need to be a different color. And now after heating up all the remaining engravings, what I did now is I just started painting the extra details with some metallic white, because I still wanted to make it look more like metal, but these are a lighter shade of gray, so yeah, I used metallic white to make them look like a lighter shade. And I later on realized that the back side of the hammer was also a lighter shade too, so I painted that white as well. I also painted the details on the front side white too. And now I began wrapping those branches around the oh, the camera fell again, around well, the axe and the staff. So what you do here is pretty much just attach it to the staff part first, the handle, and then wrap it around the axe/hammerhead, and then back onto the handle. And after attaching all the branches, I realized that there were still some spots that were not painted, so I pretty much just used the same spray paint, except I put it on the napkin, and I just started painting what was left to the color it needs to be. Alright, so now we're pretty much done with Stormbreaker. But this next step is optional, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to weather it, and this will pretty much make it look more like battle damage and old and not as shiny. And in order to do this, I think I did it with my actually no, I didn't. Come to think of it, I thought I did it with my Mjolnir that I made over a year ago. But basically what you do is you get a mixture of mostly water and black paint. You get some paper towels. I'm actually gonna save a little bit. Get some paper towels, and you basically dip it and just wipe it all on here, and then you wait like about a minute or two. Actually, sometimes you don't even have to wait, and then you pretty much just wipe most of it off, and it'll look more battle damaged. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is how to make your very own Stormbreaker. Yeah, this is definitely one of my most favorite projects that I've made out of all the other ones that I've made on my wall right there, aside probably my Loki scepter or my Captain America shield. But out of all of those, this is probably my most favorite one. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.